clearly and honestly, Jayden is not injured right now, but we did lose valuable practice time, John, with him and his teammates when he was injured. And that's hard on all the guys. It's a really, really important part of what we do. And we don't have banked reps in years. So we're very much looking forward to getting back onto a full week and regular practice sessions with the guys. So over the last few weeks, we've had to, put that together in small bits. So that's what I think into that space. And as we're heading into this week, we're looking forward to getting a full week of our practice and, work the things that we need to.
And because of that, where do you see that? Is it the rhythm of the pass game? Where do you see that affecting the pass game most?
I would say the rhythm and timing too, John, I think is a big piece of it too. You have to be able to run things full speed. Walkthroughs are good to help where to do a line and where do you target, but you need the practice. You need the full speed reps to really, let it rip and go. And so that's why that's such an important piece of what we do, the Wednesday, the Thursday, the Friday of the week. So we'll look forward to getting into some full weeks for sure, John.
Hi, Dan. Do you know yet what your expectations are for Marshawn Lattimore? Do you expect him to see the field this week in practice?
I'm hopeful, Nikki, that he's able to see the field some. He's trending in the right space. He's still working really hard from the rehab spot to see where he can go. But with a soft tissue injury, we're not going to miss one step of this. You know that. Just like no different than with the other guys. But we're encouraged that he's definitely pointing in the right direction, Nikki. So yeah, we're hopeful that we see him out on the practice field some towards the end of the week.
And you've obviously played your previous teams at other coaching stops, but with Dallas coming in this week, does it ever feel different? Does it ever feel anything more than just another game when you do face a team you've coached before?
No, not really. I think probably because I'm a little bit older, maybe like early on in your coaching career you do, but more than anything, you see your friends that you coached with or worked with, post game, and you see some of the players in the same space that you worked with beforehand. But it's funny that happens even when you play against a team that you didn't work for, but you worked with this person or you coached with this person at this stop. And I certainly have a lot of respect for the people there. They had a huge impact on my life, both professionally and personally.
Ben. Hey Dan, we haven't talked to you obviously since you had a chance to watch back the game. So just curious, what did you think of your offense? What stood out to you?
Well, I didn't think we had enough shots at it. We thought third down was going to be a big piece in this game, Ben, could we extend drives? Could we, hold on to the ball? Because we didn't want to get caught into a game where we didn't have enough, shots at it where they could control the ball through the ground game to go. So I thought timing and execution, we missed the mark onto that spot, quite honestly. And as we get ready, into this week, that's why I was referring to John earlier. I'm looking forward to getting some full speed reps with the guys again out on the field. But I just thought a click off here or there in the run game or an incomplete pass or whatever that may have looked like, Ben, at different times. If there was just one thing, I can't, put one finger on this one position group or this one issue. So it just kind of felt like a lack of execution in some crucial spots.
Efficient as all time. You guys are setting all kinds of records. There's always this notion of regression to the mean. Is there something to that of like, hey, the bar was so high that of course there's going to be some bumps in the road, but it doesn't mean it's a regression?
Seriously, SAT questions on a press conference. That's a tough deal. You know what? I think there's there's ebbs and flows. And I wish, Ben, that, everything was linear, that it went up and you keep, just kicking ass and getting better at every stop. But you do have to kind of go through these peaks and valleys a little bit to go. Honestly, I do feel, I was clear with John earlier that, getting some more practice reps, I think will really help us, Ben. Having that, where it didn't have quite the same flow for probably 4 weeks, I would say affected us. And so that's what I am looking forward to. If there's a silver lining of having a couple extra days after a short week, maybe getting back into some full practice sessions, that's an important piece for us.
Sam?
It hasn't looked like Jayden's accuracy, particularly on short passes and that deep one to Noah Brown, it seems like it hasn't been as consistent as it was earlier in the year. Are you seeing something there? And if so, how do you kind of help him out?
I'm hopeful that the practice part, Sam, will honestly take a good piece of that. I know that I'm sounding like a little bit of a broken record, but it is such an important piece to what we do, to work your skills really hard. The concept hasn't changed, Sam. In other words, there's not a new route, but it may be a little different leverage that a team may have. So honestly, getting back into those are a big deal. And so it's not like we didn't practice at all. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the extra reps, the pre-practice ones, the post-practice ones of getting to throw. And so that's why I'm glad that Jayden's going on the way up. And it's a little bit of a reset for all of us to get back into a normal routine here, heading into this week.
I know he's a super hard worker and he's very consistent. Is there any concern with a guy, like especially your rookie class in general? Like, is there a little bit of I don't know, burnout's probably not the right word, but like overwork in that sense?
For sure, that's a topic that we talk about, Sam. It's a good one. Some people would have called it like the rookie wall and things like that. And I can still remember my first time coaching in the NFL. I think we got to Thanksgiving. I was just exhausted from preseason to regular season games. And you do kind of punch your way through it. I'm sure for those on the call for their first ever NFL season, it is longer than anyone's ever experienced. But we do talk about it. We do plan for how do we push ourselves through those spots and having that recalibration to go. So it does come up. It's a real thing. And you just kind of work your way through those moments, and you usually find yourself on the other side, a little bit stronger, but it's a real thing.
David Aldridge.
Hey, Dan. Wondering, do you try to do a full self-scout during like this mini bye week, or do you hold that off until the full bye week?
Yeah, it's a good question, Dave. We try to do one internally about each quarter, about every 4 games. And then, so as opposed to waiting till a certain one or that, to go, because especially, David, with this one being our bye not for 2 more weeks, it feels like it's been a long time since I had a bye this late in a regular season, but I don't know, I'm sure ours is the last one. So we try to do it like almost on a quarterly basis. It doesn't always work out that way. We might have a Monday game to go, but as opposed to waiting it out. So we're kind of in the cycle right now where we're at the end of another one and beginning another one. So we stay pretty consistent with it on a regular basis.
Also, I know the linebackers are pretty stout right now for you, but just wondering what you're seeing from Jordan McGee and how he's coming along, and if you anticipate him getting some reps at some point.
He's certainly working hard at it, and he and Ben Sinnott are two that are absolutely putting it in, and the guys at the position are also performing well too. Talking about Zach and John Bates, and so certainly with Wags and Luvu, I tried to take Wags out in the Carolina game. He gave me a side eye for like 2 weeks after that. So I do love the progress that Jordan's making, and he is developing on special teams. And so there's a hidden, maybe a little silver lining, David, with us covering kicks again. Maybe as an NFL, that guys are tackling and avoiding blocks and developing into their own space. So I guess it was maybe in his second week, Jordan had a good tackle on a kickoff, and you could see the guys, jumping off the sideline to go find him and congratulate him. So that's a good sign. He gets reps in practice. He gets reps into that space, not just on carded scout team, but in the actual reps as well. So he's making progress. And I would say we're trending, up with him and with Ben. I'd love to get them some more reps, and we'll see, by package and how does it work. But he's definitely, I feel his speed and his tackling ability, David. I'm excited about Jordan.
JP?
Hey, Dan, kind of beyond Jayden, but when you guys got off to the really hot start, you were so efficient on third down and putting these long drives together, winning time of possession. Is that something you've examined in the last couple weeks, and how do you get back on that track? Yeah,
specifically, I think you're talking about the completions and as it pertains to runs and the play pass that goes with it. Third down's a big piece of that, JP, as you're going through it. And for us, knowing that we want to own that time of possession and work the ball down the field, even though you hear us use the words like tempo and, at the line of scrimmage, not every play is, at mock speed. So having plays that we're able to extend drives with, going from first and 10 to second and shorter to third and shorter. Those are big pieces for us. So if we can get into where we're managing those smaller third downs and winning more on first down especially, that's a big part for us. So, trying to knock out half the distance on a first down play, that opens up all sorts of things for you. So, yeah, it is something that we're digging in hard to.
And then just quickly with Lattimore, since you guys decided to make the trade, was this about the timeline you expected? Have there been any surprises one way or the other?
Not surprised. No, not surprised on that, JP. We knew there was going to be some time where it wasn't, plug and play, after the trade. And so what I look for from the player to see is he working as hard as he can to do that and learning as quick as he can. And good news for us is that Marshawn's absolutely savage worker, wants to go, be as ready as you can and digging in. But we're just not going to take the chance if it's not all the way ready. And good news, we're trending in a really strong way, and we'll see what the week looks like. But we're moving in the right way, that's for sure.
Thanks.
Scott?
Hey, Dan. The adversity element, first two-game losing streak of the season. What do you tell the team? What do you look for from the players in this type of a situation?
Well, it's going to come, the adversity part. And there's some things that have sped up our development as a team. That's this connection that the guys have spoken about. There's also one thing you can't speed up, and that's the hard lessons and learning how to win close games and late ones and ugly wins and playing left-handed and all these lessons that come from that. What I do love about our team is that we're never out of it. And maybe after the first game of the season, Scott, that would have been something. But since that space, we haven't won them all. But to know that these guys are down for the fight, and they're a resilient group, into those spaces. And like I said, not that we've won them all, but they are in it. And there's something that you do gain from that. But you do have to go through these hard moments to understand how do we win this game? How do we get to this moment, and how do we finish it off? And unfortunately, you do have to live through it a little bit. But this is becoming a battle-tested team that's gone through some of the elements and the things that you need to go through. And so I love where we're headed and what we stand for as a group. Really tough-minded, resilient guys that love playing. So, it's a fun-ass team for me to coach. But you do have to go through that stuff. And fortunately for us, they are resilient. But we're not there yet in terms of, what we're going to be. But you do have to go through them.
This rivalry, you've seen it from the other side being on that staff. What do you appreciate about this game, and what do you appreciate about this rivalry?
Yeah, I think it's awesome, number one, because here's two iconic franchises getting to go battle for it in the division. We're fortunate that we get to do this game here at home, and that's a big deal when you're in the division, of getting to play in at home and your crowd behind you and ripping for every chance that you can be loud and make a difference. And so creating home field advantage is a really cool thing. And to get a chance to have my first Dallas game here and have the crowd behind us and digging in, that's a really cool thing. We can't wait.
Andy?
Hey there, Coach. Good afternoon. What are your thoughts so far on where the team is with starting field position?
You know what? That's a great question, Candy. Last week, we split it right down the middle. Both teams had exactly the same. And I love that we're covering with real intent to try to make a change on that. I thought Tress did a nice job. We dropped one down inside the 20 on the punting side of it. But it also goes into penalties. And in this last game, I think we had 5, they had 4. So all of those factor into, our starting field position. We're in each of the games closely battling for that. And I think, one of the edges for us is the special teams and their cover group. And we're going to continue to push those guys and lean in on them, especially with guys like Tress, that can drop a ball inside the 20. And from our kickoff side, I thought Zane's done actually a really good job too of being dropped into a spot, just a few weeks ago and allowing us a chance to cover. So it's one of the fun parts of the team to coach, because this kickoff team, if I could tell you the words and phrases they're saying on the sideline, we would have to bleep out a lot, but it's a lot of fun.
And your thoughts on Mike, what he's done in the last couple of games?
One more time, Candy. You got cut off just for a second, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mikey Sanders still.
Yes.
Thoughts on his play the last 2 games?
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about with Mikey, and I felt like his he is on the way up again. And sometimes you go into these levels, and now you go level up, and you wish it was all straight. You go and you hit some plateaus, and you go again, and he's on the way up. I saw it in the tackling, the plays on the ball, the physicality that he played with, and it doesn't get much tougher than the assignments that he's had. And in terms of last week and the weeks ahead, but he's really that type of competitor, Candy, that he's just ready. He's confident in his skills and what he does. So he's in a very good spot. I want him just to stay in this pocket of improving, man. He's really nailing it right now.
Thank you.
Donna?
Hey, Coach. In that Philly game, now that you had a chance to really look over everything, what bothered you most about that game beyond not winning, but knowing this team and what they're capable of doing and what you didn't see?
Well, I'd love for us to be able to knock a ball or two out. We thought that would be one of the differences, Donna. Could we, find our way into the plus in the turnover margin? And we've been strong into that spot to, over the last few weeks to knock a few out to get into the plus in the turnover margin. So not seeing that as strong. Our tackling and breaking tackles wasn't, at a level that we love. So we keep track of that, of our missed tackles on defense and special teams. How many does Philadelphia have? How many we're creating? And so those are two margins that are strong for us that I'd like to see different in this next game. Our ability to tackle and our ability to go break tackles, and then our turnover margin. Because to get into the plus, you have to create them. And so we did throw an interception in the fourth quarter, but not to have any to give our offense another shot. That's one thing we know we can get. We knocked one out with Quan Martin, but we didn't recover the fumble.
And what is the message that you want to really drive home as you move forward to Dallas, this team as they get started this week?
Yes, today is it's an important day for us. It's a really important day. We call it Tell the Truth Monday. And the message that I said, Donna, to the guys was, in that tell the truth, it's important. That's part of brotherhood. That is telling the truth, telling it. It's also as important to receive it and to know, like the engagement that goes back and forth. I told the team a story about a player that, we can do this check and this check. And he had said back to me, hey, Coach, I think that is difficult from the lens of the helmet. And it was a lesson that I never forgot, because it's always about what the player needs. And so that type of engagement from players to coaches and back again, like, that's really important. And so that's what I shared with the guys today about why today's, so important. It's not about placing blame. It's about getting our football aligned exactly right. And as you get right back into it in a division game, that'll be for, the week ahead. But for today, it was about the corrections and the adjustments that we needed to make from the previous game.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Last one. Dan, you coached against the Cowboys a lot last year, and they've had a bunch of injuries all over, but particularly on defense. How do you think that those injuries have affected that team so far? Obviously, I know they've got a game tonight to play, but how do you think those injuries have affected the Cowboys so far this season?
I can't say how the injuries have affected them. It's a different scheme, a different group of how they feature the players. So I'll get more into them as I dig into the week. But really, I can only comment on my time with them, but not how they feature the guys and the injuries that could come up at this time of year. Well, every time of year, that's one of the hard parts of our league is injuries and dealing with them. And so it's the part of the game that sucks. And how do you keep developing the next player to be into that space to go? But all teams deal with it, and it is hard.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
All right, you guys have a good one. We'll see you Wednesday.